brand new water for you.
Can I wrap myself?
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. Cold night today.
You cold too?
Yeah. Cold.
It's cold in the whole.
I don't know about anywhere else, but
It's me and you right now. I'm still cold.
it's just cold from
Yeah.
being outside.
Cold.
Yeah. After a while.
Yeah.
Do you know what time it is?
Yes, it is 9:30 p.m.
It's very 1 a.m. Is everywhere I came from.
Thanks, Joe. Make sure that's good.
Okay.
All right. Oh, it's a little chilly in here, isn't it, Chris? Again, he introduced himself, but this is Mike.
Sergeant Cheney to the Sheriff's Office.
All right.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Sergeant Mike, call me
Mike.
Mike. How about that? If that's okay.
Sergeant Mike.
Yes, is that okay with you?
I've known him for a very long time, and he may not be quite as nice as me, but he's still a really nice guy.
I
Okay.
can tell.
Okay.
I can
Chris,
tell.
what we do is we record everything, so I'm just letting you know this thing's running.
Okay.
Now, before we even get started, okay, again, like I said, from way back when, in 2007, I was working this case, okay? And there's been a lot of time in between, all right?
11 years.
Yes, exactly. But what I want to talk to you about before we can even get started is I want to make sure you understand that we're going to treat you fairly, okay? I'm not sure about, Brazil and how things go down there, but up here we're going to do things exactly how we're supposed to, okay? And I'm sure Bill has told you that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now it's my understanding from what I hear that while you were on the plane ride up here, you gave these guys a statement about what happened. Is that
Yeah, partial.
partial
Yes.
statement? Okay, great. Now, what I want to ask you now is, I want to make sure that you don't have to talk to us. Okay, that's first and foremost. I would love to hear your side of the story. Okay, but what I need to do is I need to make sure that you understand what your rights are. Okay, now you had a lawyer down in Brazil, is that correct? Who was helping you with this case down there? Okay, obviously he's not up here. We want to talk to you. We can talk to you without a lawyer, which is your choice.
Doesn't matter to me.
So
Either way.
so you're willing to talk to us without a lawyer?
Yes.
And you're sure of that? Because
I have nothing to hide.
okay, great. But I just understand something. As much as I can't wait to hear what you have to say, it's more important for me to make sure that you understand
I
what
do
your rights
understand
are.
my rights.
Okay. You understand that, say, you've been charged with
I
murder.
have the right to stay silent. I know that.
Okay.
But if I want to talk, it doesn't bother me to talk to you.
Okay, great. And we're going to get to that. You do understand, just one more question. You do understand that when you get arraigned, you know what your arraignment is when you actually get formally, you go see the judge about the charge you've been charged with murder?
Yes.
They're going to assign you a lawyer. And you're willing to talk to me now without that lawyer around?
Doesn't bother me.
Okay, wonderful.
So I will tell you, Chris, I haven't told him everything that we talked about.
Yeah, because you haven't had the time.
Right,
It was very short.
that was an 8-hour flight. We put a lot of time in that
Talked a lot.
airplane. So,
And I haven't told you 10% of
this is the paperwork that I told you. Remember when Tony and I were on the plane talking to you, and we said that we would have, there were some things that we had to do that we couldn't ask you questions?
Yes.
So this is the paperwork that has to be done before we can ask any of those follow-up questions.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Again, you'll see this is much different than how they do things down there. Everything
Totally.
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was-
everything is out in the open and above board,
Yeah.
and nobody was trying to trick
Yeah,
anybody.
Yeah, that's the one thing we need to make sure of that. We are not here to trick you, okay? We are here to make sure, I don't know, again, I'm kind of interested to learn how things are in Brazil, but we
You can
know,
ask me any question.
believe me, I'm gonna ask you so many questions that you're gonna be tired of me by the time this is
No,
over.
I will tell you this,
It's
from
fun.
the time that we spent together, it's very important to her, correct me if I'm misstating this, that you fill in the blanks. Because she was reading a lot of things in the news and seeing the things that were reported, and she wants to fill in those blanks, the things that weren't correct. Is that fair? Is that kind of how all this thing started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. How about we do this? First, can you read write English language?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is, these are your constitutional rights under Miranda, okay? This section right, I'll put those on, please. This section right here, from here to here, those are your constitutional rights. And what I'll do is I'll read those to you, and I'll ask that you follow along.
Sure.
You'll see at the end of each sentence, there's a blank space. What I want you to do is put your initials there if you understand
Absolutely.
it. If you don't understand it, ask me and I'll be more than happy to
Absolutely.
explain it.
Sure.
Once we get through that, when we get down here, this paragraph is called your waiver of rights. And again, I'll read that. And what that basically says is that you understand what your rights are, you're willing to waive them this time and talk to us.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Mhm.
So you take this pen and follow along with me. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. If that's true, initial there. You have the right to remain silent, which you already told me you knew. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before he asks you any questions and to have him with you during questioning. You waive that, is that what you said?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If that's true, initial there. Decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present. You still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to a lawyer. Now, this is the waiver of rights. I have read, or have had read to me, this statement of my constitutional rights, and I understand what my rights are. I'm willing to make a statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or coercion of any kind have been used against me. I therefore waive my rights and agree to make a statement. If that is true, please sign there.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that I will not have a lawyer.
You know, you will, basically this just means you'll talk to us right now without a lawyer present.
Sure.
You will get a lawyer assigned to you if you cannot afford one. Absolutely. And that will probably happen as soon as tomorrow. We gotta sign that too. Bill, please. Yep. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I kind of just want to start off. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Now, what name are you going? Are you going by Claudia or are you going by? What do you want me to call you?
Chris.
You want me to call you Chris? That. I'm going to start off just with today's date and time. I'm going to introduce myself. This is all for tape purposes, okay? I'll start out. I'll introduce myself. I'll introduce Bill, and I'll ask you to introduce yourself.
Sure.
Okay? And then what we'll do is, I'll ask you your date of birth, that kind of stuff. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get into what happened 11 years ago.
Okay.
Almost. I mean, it's been a long, long time.
Okay.
Okay? Today's date is Wednesday, January 17, 2018. The time is 9:36 p.m. Speaking Detective Sergeant Mike Dinucci with the Trumbull County Sheriff's Office. We're currently in the investigative division of the Sheriff's Office. Also present in the room from the U.S. Marshal's Office, Bill Bolden. Bill, for voice recognition purposes, please state your name.
My name is Bill Bolden. I'm a senior inspector with the U.S. Marshals.
Great, thank you. And we are sitting here with, please state your name.
Claudia Christina Hoerig.
Claudia Christina Hoerig. Now, Claudia, you were here.
Chris.
Chris.
She likes Chris.
I'm going to call you Chris. You are here right now. You've been charged, almost 11 years ago, you were charged here with the murder of your husband. His name was Karl Hoerig, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, in the meantime, you just now came back on a plane from Brazil, is that
Yes,
true?
that's true.
Okay. Now, where you were living in Brazil, do you have an address down there where you were living?
Yeah.
What was the address?
CLSW 504
quite an address.
It's quite an address.
That is quite an
I've been there for 2 days, that's all the address. It's hard to.
That's quite an address.
Yes.
Chris, what's your date of birth?
August 23, 64,
That makes you how old?
53.
And you were a U.S. citizen. Do you have a social security number? You know what your social is?
127764599. Wow.
That is an amazing memory. How did you remember that?
The number.
She's impressed me with
I'm
numbers.
shocked.
She's impressed me with numbers the whole trip. She's a math person. She's a numbers person. Like,
No, that's
amazing.
That's shocking. I'm shocked myself now.
Now, before we get into, 'cause I'm anxious to learn about what happened and how you ended up in jail down in Brazil, but we'll get to that. That's kind of towards the end. What we kind
I've
of,
been talking for a month then.
we're going to be talking for a while. Don't you worry. I got coffee over there, so I'll be good. But I kind of want to start at the beginning. I want to go back to March 15th, 2007.
Okay, you're gonna start from the end.
Well,
Yeah, well, that-
the beginning of the end. Yes.
kind of, I
Start
think,
backwards. It's gonna start backwards.
I-
It's not fair.
I think, in fairness, I think what you had already talked to Tony and I about on the plane, I think that would be a very good place to start, because that you hit a lot of the most important things that you wanted to tell us, whatever
I
you're
jumped
comfortable.
all over the place, so
You did.
I don't know if I
Well-
would be able to. You're gonna have
Okay.
to help me.
Well, here's what will happen. You can jump all over the place. You're allowed to do that. And then what we'll do is we'll try to rein you back in. We'll try to bring it back in and try to make sense of it. I like to, the way I find over the years is I like to talk, if we talk in order, like say the day that this happened, and kind of move forward from there, that seems to jog the memory fairly well. But if you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, and then we'll go back and we'll go through it. What would be easier for you? How about that?
Bill,
Yes. I know how hard.
I want to be fair to the family, but I don't want to be unfair to myself. If I say only a few things and I don't say the whole thing,
Right.
I'm gonna look very bad.
I think that what I would like you to do, and this is entirely up to you, just talk about the things that you talked about with us before, the things that you were already comfortable with, the things that you told Tony and I on the airplane, okay? And then, once you're done doing that, if there's other things that you want to tell us, we will let you do that. If we have some questions, we will ask you. If you're comfortable answering them, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I think, for me
If I
anyway,
only tell the things that I did and I don't say the things that he did,
yeah,
that doesn't mean
That-
very little good.
I agree. But the things
You
you
know,
know,
because I was telling him that I didn't want to say all the bad things that he did to me, because I didn't want his family, which are very good people, to know the real person that he was. Because I like those people, they're very good people, and they don't know everything about that man.
I understand. Here's what I'll tell you about that.
And if I tell you, oh yeah, this is what I did this, but I don't tell you what led into this, that's my concern. Either tell you everything,
right.
you know,
So-
I'm still confused about
Chris, here's what I'll tell you. The stage is yours. You tell us whatever you want to tell us. Okay, we're not going to control or put words in your mouth. Whatever you feel comfortable telling us.
You heard my stories. I was emotional when I told you the
Right.
stories. I don't completely remember what parts in the sequence in which I told these
Right.
things.
Would it help?
If you could help me.
Would it help you if I asked you some of the
Yes.
questions based on what we talked
Yes,
about
yes,
earlier?
yes. You
That
can
way-
help me.
and we
You can
start-
help me.
And we can start
Yes.
with that.
Yes. Because see, one thing is for me to talk the way I talk. I was more relaxed.
You were more relaxed, it was
Here
more
I'm not so
comfortable.
relaxed,
I
so my
understand.
memory
It's-
shuts down.
It's a little scary.
It doesn't.
It's a little scary.
Because I feel like I'm under pressure to explain I didn't feel that way on the plane.
Right, and you're not gonna be under any pressure. I'm not gonna talk to
Right.
you any differently now than
It's
we did
very
on
hard
the
not to
airplane.
feel
But
under
it's
pressure.
scary.
Only because I feel like if I only get the chance to say this much, and I don't say the whole thing, I'm gonna incriminate myself, make myself look like a terrible person, and I'm not gonna say why. And the why is that
Important.
part. It's that
Yes.
part that I said that I didn't want to say to protect the family from knowing.
And remember
That
when
it's very hard for a parent to know, you have children, to know bad things about your child, isn't it?
It is.
I don't want to hurt that family. You know, they've been hurt, they already lost their son, and I don't want them to know certain parts of their son's personality, because I can bring him back. I will not. I feel it will not change the outcome of my of this case. I'm certain that I'm going to get what's the word, convicted. I'm prepared for that, and to me it doesn't matter anymore. I feel I'm 53, but I don't feel like 53. I feel like 103. So to me, you know, what a 103-year-old has expectations of doing what with her life. You know, so go ahead, help me.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you here a little bit because.
Yes, help me because
Remember
I'm
when we were talking?
all
yeah,
over the
we're-
place.
When we were talking on the plane, Tony and I both said that we would not lie to you. We had a big conversation on
Yes.
the plane. And we did tell you that the things that you said to us, we can't keep secret. You know what I mean? We have to report what was said. So really, all I would like to do right now is talk a little bit about the things that you told us on the plane. Because you did say some things that were very important that none of us knew, and if we didn't know until you told us. And I think that's a very important part of your story, and it's a very important part of the entire story about what happened.
Give me a
And
piece
it
of
hap-
paper because I feel better
And it has-
organized
and it-
with
and
a
it-
piece of paper.
You wanna write something, or you
Yeah,
want-
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If you-
Not write this, just scratch. Having a piece of paper in front of me and a pen helps me out.
Now, let me ask you this, Chris. We can do it the way Bill's talking about doing it, if that's easier for you. Or if I just asked you to explain, tell you, when we got to the house, this is what we saw. Can you tell us how this happened? Would that be something?
No, that's not how I want to tell
You don't
the
wanna do that,
stories.
okay.
No.
Now, how do you want to tell me this story?
Bill, what do you think?
I think that
What part do you think?
I think what is important is the couple of things that you said that led up to what happened that day. The things that you said when you were talking about how things happened that day, and that it wasn't something that you planned in advance, but how it happened and the reason why it happened. The things that you said to him about being pregnant, his response to that, and what happened after the shower. The things that you said, I think that is a very important part of the story, and I think that's the thing that you need to tell them about that part.
To organize what point I'll start. I'll start from the point that the car when I took the medicine.
Yes, we did. So let's do this. Remember, when we were on the airplane, we were talking, Carl took you to the hospital. Remember, that's kind of how we started talking about things. Took you to the hospital for a mental evaluation because you had tried to kill yourself with that, or thought about it.
Well, I think that's a very summarized version.
Right.
The story is
Much long, yes.
very long. But yeah, we met through the internet
On a website.
on a
What was
website.
that website called? Match.com?
I think so. Yeah. And we dated for 2 months. 2 months, my glasses, over the internet. He found me. He was in New York. He was here. He found me. And he put a lot of pressure on me to date him. I said, but why would you want to date a woman in New York? You know, I said, no problem, because I can, I'm a pilot, and I can work anywhere in the U.S. that I want, and there is a base that is about 1 hour from New York, and I can ask them to transfer me. This was from the Air Force.
Right.
I can transfer, can ask to be transferred to there. And I really, I said, well, I don't remember exactly what I said, but he said, hey, I can prove to you that I can be, just tell me what day you want me to be there, and I'll be there. I think I told him today or tomorrow, the next day, and he was there.
Showed up.
Showed up.
Did he fly up there?
Yeah.
And you met him that day?
I met him that day, and I was like, wow, this man is not lying.
Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, I was impressed. Yeah, I was impressed. And he was a pretty good looking guy, and he showed up so well dressed up, and some hot pants, some looked like leather material. He was very well dressed, and I said, this man is very interesting. He's good looking. Why would he want it so bad? Then I would have to tell you the long story. Well, he trapped me. He wanted to marry me at any cost. And
Right there that day?
that day,
Wow. Didn't you say you were dating for like 2 months?
we dated for 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he was talking about getting married the first day?
the first day,
Wow.
yeah. But I was in New York. We dated long distance. He was in Ohio. We dated over the phone. I went there once. No, he went there to New York once. Then I came to Ohio once. And then our next date was in Belle Island. There's an island
Put in bed?
here. In May. Yes, but in May. And that day, I thought that man was crazy. He had made an engagement party. He invited all his friends there, and he prepared an engagement party for us without telling me that he was getting engaged to me. And everybody said to me, "Oh, Chris, congratulations, congratulations!" And I was like, "Yeah," but I didn't know what they are congratulating me for.
Did
It's
a
my
ring? Give you a
engagement.
ring?
No, never gave me a ring, ever. This was our party, our engagement party.
Wow. Well,
And that day he took us to Put in Bay, his brother, Paul, drove us to the ferry.
The boat you take over there?
And they were talking my wedding party. I didn't know it was my wedding party that I'm talking about.
He planned the wedding without you?
Yeah. It was bizarre. But I was 40 years old. It's like, this is the man that everybody ever dreamed of. If I don't marry him now, I'll probably change his mind. So I was pressured into it. Our wedding day, that was it. We met 3 times and then we were going to Las Vegas.
wow. Wow. That was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was, that's what started everything. We started talking about that, and we were all looking at each other just amazed. That was.
Usually it's the other way around. Usually the women plan it real fast. That's usually the way it happens.
No. He would put a lot of pressure into me. And the thing is that he didn't pay for a thing. He always forgot his wallet, always. I paid for all the trips. My trip to go to Ohio from New York.
What did you do for a living?
I'm an accountant. Yes. So I paid for my move to bring we got married, he surprised me. His 16-year-old son that lived in, what did I say, North Carolina,
Right.
with his mother.
Mhm.
He brought his son to live with us. So we got married on June 30th of 2005. And we went to Las Vegas. When I came back, when we came back from Las Vegas, his son was in his house. I didn't know that. Living. Okay, so I wasn't working. I spent the month of July at home. I wasn't working. In August, he left. He left for a course in Texas. It was a 3 to 4 month course because he worked full time for the Air Force, and he decided to that he didn't want to work full time for the Air Force anymore. He wanted to work for Southwest. Southwest, full time for Southwest, full time, part time for Southwest, part time for the Air Force. He told me that he used to make $120,000 with the Air Force. I don't know if it's true. I never saw his checkbook. I never saw his bank account. I never had a joint account with this man. I never saw $1 of this man's money. Never gave me any of his money. Nothing. I paid all the bills in the house. No, I didn't. He paid the electric and the mortgage. Everything else was with me. Food, clothing for him. I bought his clothes, my clothes, his clothes, his son's clothes, everything. Going out for dinner, everything else was me. He paid for those two. So I remember he told me that with the Air Force he was gonna make $25,000 in Southwest, about 40. I think altogether was not more than 65,000.
It was quite a pay cut.
You know why? Because he wanted a lifestyle, crazy lifestyle. That's the part I didn't want to expose him.
I know, but since you talked to me about it, it's something that you're doing good. And Mike is just as nice as Tony, and we're sitting here, and I think it's important. This is an important part of your story.
He went on a crazy lifestyle of doing all kinds of perverted stuff. Men, women, everything. And for you to have an idea what lifestyle he liked, he was addicted to a TV show called Miles High. If you look it up, YouTube. It's about pilot school where everybody had sex with everybody. He wanted that lifestyle. And he had that lifestyle. He wasn't a faithful man. And he had sex with men and women. He was, a man that one thing.
And he told you this? I think you're gonna need some more paper.
Chris, I'll tell you, you just got through the hardest part, okay? So you just got, when we were talking earlier, that was the part that was hard for you. So you're doing really well. And I know that you're worried about that, and you've given us a very, you've given us a very good picture.
Listen, this has no bearing in whether I'm going to be convicted or not. I will be convicted. So why am I going to hurt that family knowing this?
Do you remember what we said on the airplane? That even if it's a bad story, they want to know what happened and why. Everybody wants to know. And there's only one version of the story out there because you haven't
Chris, here's the way I like to tell people to sit in your chair right there. You get one chance to tell your story. And this is it. I can't control what you tell me, But I'm gonna tell you, this is the one time you're gonna get to sit here. We are not gonna be able to do this again. Me and you are not gonna sit across from each other at this table again. This is your one chance to make it all count. And that's what you need to remember. I know you've said it more than enough that you're not trying to like the family. You don't want to hurt the family.
Because they're alive and he's dead.
Right.
Good servant.
My answer to you is, the truth speaks volumes. There's nothing like the truth. Whether we like the truth or not, you have to deal with it. You follow what I'm saying? And that's the way I think your best interest is telling your story however you want to tell it. But this is your case.
Yeah. This story that I'm telling you, who's going to hear it? Judge?
Absolutely. If
A lot of things can happen. Just because you, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm being completely honest with you, just because you tell us things in this room today, doesn't mean the family is going to read these reports or see this. They're not going to hear everything that you tell us. At some point in time, some of these things may be discussed, but the family is not going to be sitting there when you're going to be told them right away, okay?
Right away, but at one point they will.
At some point in time, they may hear some of these things, and again, like I said, I already have to report the things that I heard because that's my obligation. That's my duty. So I'm going to have to report those things. So I would much rather, with Mike sitting here, hear them from you so we get it right.
us hearing it from you probably helps people understand what ended up happening.
You really enlightened me when we were talking, and I really want him to hear that. I really want him to hear what you told me.
Yeah, I have to because the story is very long, has many parts to it. I have to summarize it because otherwise we're gonna be here.
I'll tell you this, you summarize it, and then we'll go back and hit on the highlights. How about that?
So the month of July we spent together. We married on June 30th, and we spent together July. Not really. As soon as we got married in Las Vegas, I paid for the whole trip. I paid for everything. I didn't want to be married to him anymore.
Right after you got married?
Right after we got married. So I went back to New York. To my job. And because I lied to my boss, and I told her, I was so embarrassed to tell her that I was going to marry a man like that I just met. I was so embarrassed, so I wasn't even sure it was going to. I was so pressured into doing this. At some point, I figured that I was going to tell him, let's wait. But I wound up doing that, but I felt very, very bad, and I went back to New York, back to my work, didn't tell anything to my boss. I continued to work, and 2 weeks after I was there, he pressured me every day. He said, well, I gave you enough time for you to tell your boss that you're married. If you don't tell her that you're married, I'm going to call her right now, and I'm going to tell her that you married me a couple weeks ago. I said, please don't do that. Don't do that because it's just going to hear it. It's going to hear it from me. I want to give her my version. So he gave me that day for me to tell my boss. So I walked into her office and I told her what happened. So then I had no more job, and then I had to come back to New York, to Ohio, and he said, I'm going to change because he treated me very, very bad. He was like very aggressive with me just because I saw I'm afraid of AIDS. And the day we came back from Las Vegas, I saw a lot of ants on the ceiling and on the walls, big ants. And I started screaming, oh my God, kill those ants. He said, you never scream in that house again. I don't like screaming because you know what a soldier does when they hear screaming? They react. They started started talking to me in a way that he never talked to me before. I saw kindness here in him before, and then all of a sudden he was a different person. He scared the life out of me. So I told him, I'm going back to New York. I'm going back to New York.
Lost that job. How much time was that?
Well, that was in February of 2007. That was almost 2 years later.
Oh, 2 years later.
2
Okay.
years later.
So you were working there for a while. You were at the county. You were at the county firm. And what led up you to go to the hospital that night?
Yeah, let me tell you about the pregnancy first.
Okay.
So in July, we were July of 2005, we were newlyweds, right? And his son was living with us, and he, in August, he decided to leave to go to Texas to take a flight course to work with Southwest. And he left his son with me for 3 to 4 months.
Now, is this at the house in Newton Falls?
Yeah.
Okay.
His son never saw me before. I never saw him. He didn't know it was a serial killer. He left his 16-year-old son with me. I thought that was weird. Not only that he left me, we had just gotten married. He decided to leave and left his son with me. So that was very weird. And he left no money for food, for anything. I had to take his son to school every day. I had a child all of a sudden, 16-year-old child. I had to take him to school every day. I had to pay for his food, for his clothes. He had no jacket, coat jacket, nothing. I had to take care of that boy, and I did. And in the beginning, he didn't like me because he didn't know me. But we only had each other. We became close. But at some point, he wanted to leave, and Karl started blaming me for his son to want to go back to his mother. And I said, no, you're not going to put that blame on me, because I have a tape that I recorded his son telling me that he wasn't going back to his mother because of me, but because of what Karl did that abandoned him with a stranger. And I have a lot of recording about my relationship between me and Karl on my hard drive in my computer that was in Newton Falls. The police has that. That shows his character, all the things that he did to me, how he screamed at me, how he cursed at me, how he abused me. That is all in there. Because in my first marriage, that was married before in New York to a doctor for 10 years, Tom, I had a lot of problems with his mother, and I got into the habit of taping conversations. So I had that habit. So I started taping my conversation with Karl, with everybody. Not with everybody, just Karl and his son. So that conversation's that hard drive. He had a subscription to a site called Hogtight. Do you know what that is?
I'll tell you I do.
You do.
I looked that site up way back in 2007.
He did that to me.
You want to explain it?
He forced me into, oh my God. Those are the things that he did to me. He forced me to do that. He forced me to play dead. He would only have an orgasm if I played dead. If I moved one muscle, he would lose his erection. So, in the beginning, when we were dating, we didn't have full sex because he wouldn't get any erection because he wasn't playing his weird games with me. Remember that he went one time to New York, and I went back here 2 times to Ohio, so we tried to have sex. The first time we couldn't because he didn't get any erection. Then later on, Viagra, right? But he didn't tell me. I found that in his little toiletry bag. So that was the second time. The second time we were able to have sex because he took Viagra. He was very, I remember, he was very nervous with me, and he said, "You're not going to leave me, right? Because I'm not a man enough for you, right? Because I couldn't perform." I said, "No, I understand. Some men get nervous." He said, "It's because I had an accident when I served in country. I went once to Germany. Met a woman there, and she sat on my penis, and she broke my penis. Now my penis has this lump in here, and that's the reason why I have all this dysfunction, and I'm suing the Air Force." This is, you can see that he's trying to sue the Air Force because I have an enlarged prostate, and I have cancer. Oh my God, I have cancer. I was paranoid of having cancer. And he tried to make up a lot of stories why he couldn't perform. But the truth is, he always started doing this hog tie to me after we got married. And I didn't like these games because, like I told you, I'm a very conservative woman.
Yes.
Right? So, but I went to leave him when it started with that. But then I said, "Gosh, I already lost my job." Starting, accounting for all the stuff that I
Left in New York that you lost,
Yeah.
then you gave up to move here.
I gave up,
So you
yes.
decided to keep trying.
I'm gonna keep trying. Maybe I'm too old-fashioned. Maybe I should be more modern. Maybe I'll get used to it. So he beat me, and next to the bed, the police was there. The police could see the bed was here. Here's the door to the here's the door to the bedroom, and here in this corner had box with things that he tortured me with: ropes, the whip, the vibrator, had all those gadgets. So, he only had sex that way with me. Either he would tie me up, or he would I would have to play dead, or he would scratch his penis on my feet until he was bleeding. It was all weird stuff, and he made me walk around naked in the house on high heels all the time. It doesn't matter how cold it was. Because even if you put the heat on,
That's tough, yeah.
it's still
Those are
cold.
all strange things.
Yeah, those high heel things with a pom-pom, with a little ball. You seen them on Victoria's Secrets?
Okay.
Those heels with, that you have a little pom-pom, right? Ridiculous stuff. I felt like a hug, and that's just not me.
Right.
So I had to, I couldn't put on socks, I couldn't put on pants, I couldn't put on a jacket. If we went out to eat, it was snowing out like this, I always had to wear open shoes, open toes, shoes with, so it was torture. He tortured me.
There's some fetishes, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah,
There is
that's what
one
it
little
is.
particular one that I don't feel comfortable telling you.
And you don't have to, okay?
There's one very, very bad one.
And if you don't have to tell us anything you're not comfortable telling us. I think at this point, everybody, we have a very good picture that there were some fetishes and there were things that you were uncomfortable with and there were things that
Yeah. and it
You're
was
very
that or
conservative.
not.
And it was that or not.
That was that or hell.
So,
Cursing, he never only beat me up once. But, that was the day that happened. Yeah, that was the only time that he beat me up. But he would abuse me verbally.
do you,
I have something to tell you. I'm pregnant. He went crazy. He said, I never want to be a father. I never want to have children because you're going to ruin your body. I love your body the way it is. You're going to get stretch marks, like his first wife got a lot of stretch marks. And I don't want that. You're not going to do this to me. I want a wife. I don't want a mother. I don't want children. I want a wife. And I said, but I'm 40 years old. I can't. I'm not going to get an abortion. You will get an abortion. So I went to see him in Texas. I made a trip there. He didn't let me talk about this deprivation technique on me. So and before that, over the phone, he would call me all neurotic, crazy. You gotta get an abortion. You gotta get an abortion. You gotta get an abortion. So he would talk to me all the time about that. So I was going crazy. And when he came home to spend a weekend or a few days, I don't remember, a week, got a week off for a few days, he wouldn't let me sleep. And I begged him, I can't, you're killing me. So he would keep me up, and he would stay on bed, sitting on bed. And I would lay down and fall asleep. He would wake me up. Wake up, wake up. So he would do that all the time. And I got sick. After a few days, my body just couldn't take it anymore. I got sick from the mental pressure, from the mental torture from sleep deprivation. I wind up in the middle of the night. I felt pain, and I said, I don't know, this pain is. And all of a sudden, I had blood all over. And then he took me to a hospital. And I did the ultrasound, and they saw you are losing the baby. We're going to try to save it, but we don't know if we're going to be able to save the baby. But she did the ultrasound and said, I don't see the fetus anymore. The sac is empty. Go home and rest, this and that. But then when I got home, I was the fetus inside the toilet, and I heard that big noise, and I said, oh my God, what's that? So I saw the blood, and I stuck my hand, it was the fetus. I was very emotional. I took the fetus and put inside a little glass jar, and I showed him. He didn't want to see it, and I put it in the freezer. I said, I'll put it in the freezer because I want to bury it. I want to bury the fetus. And he went into the freezer and he threw away the fetus. It was so cold. He threw away the fetus. I want to keep it. Whatever, bury it in the yard. But that hurt me a lot because that meant nothing to him. It meant so much to me, it meant nothing to him. And then I went into the hospital to do to clean up uterus.
Right.
So I went into surgery. So I don't know the name of the hospital because I'm not familiar with names, and I would not remember anyway. It's been 11 years. But I'm sure that my insurance, that was from his insurance, has all that paperwork. They could, you could see that my story is true. So, so after 3 or 4 months, his son went back to his mother, and our time together became a little bit better. I was more used to his abuse, but he did a lot of bad things to me. When I wasn't allowed to talk. His mother doesn't talk. I wanted to just mother, a geisha. Geisha, you know what a geisha is?
No, I don't.
Japanese woman that wears that dress and she serves the men. He wanted me to be like that. Very abusive of his first wife. She left him because of that. And she loved him. Talked with friends. She said that to me. She confided that in me. His daughter also confided in me that he was abusive to his mom, to his first wife. And she left him. She asked him for divorce. And that was the beginning of his depression because he had aspirations of becoming a politician. And he felt that after that, he couldn't be a politician anymore because he didn't have the perfect house, the perfect wife. And then after that, he had a second wife. There was a Peruvian woman that looked like me. That's why he married me, because I looked like his second wife. That he left her because she wanted to have children, and he simply took her out of his house and dumped her at the airport. So he ruined this woman's life. He got her to leave her job in France, and then she
Did he
couldn't
tell
go
you
back.
this, or did you talk to her?
He told no, I don't know her. Those are stories that he told me. So I need to remember the name. Carla. I'll remember her last name in a few minutes. So he left her because she wanted to have children. And I moved to a big place. He was abused toward women. He married this Carla, who was Peruvian, didn't speak any English, zero. But she was perfect because all he wanted was a body. He didn't want a person for him to talk to. And what he didn't like in me is because I spoke English. He wanted a woman to be like Carla, wife number 2, that didn't speak any English and that he could.
Why didn't he just keep her then?
Because she wanted to have children. And I
What
told
nothing to do with that.
yeah, and I told him that I didn't want to have children. He loved them, and I did, but I became pregnant.
And becoming pregnant the first time, based on what we talked about earlier, that becomes a very important part of the story about what happened, because that, right? That becomes a very
That's the
important,
center of.
that's the center of everything. That becomes a very important part of the story.
That's
about,
the center.
so you understand,
The
because based on our
pregnancy is the
conversations
center.
early, that's
Is the
very
center.
important about
Yes.
what happened.
And I confided in my neighbor. Her name is Ella. Ella is the neighbor. She lives in the house across the street. You're pregnant. This man wants you to abort. He's not right about it. He doesn't have to fight to force you to an abortion. You gotta go back to New York. So I have this one person also to contribute to my story.
Very good, and that's all stuff that we can look into.
Yeah.
And we will.
Yeah.
So let's kind of keep.
Yeah.
Where do we want to go
Right.
now?
Then we had those 2 years, right? Of good. He was abusive, but at the same time, he would ask me for forgiveness. I always threatened to go back to New York, and he said he would change. He loved me. All I had to do was obey. If I obeyed, I would be happy. So he was telling me that he knew what was best for me. Just obey. Don't talk. Don't have an opinion. I had a rule, a list of rules of over almost 30 things that I couldn't do. I couldn't choose my food. I couldn't choose my clothes. I couldn't choose my shoes. I couldn't talk. I couldn't pick what I was gonna watch on TV. I was couldn't pick my anything in the house. The house was his. I couldn't pick a furniture. I couldn't pick the color of the walls. Nothing. I had to be invisible and silent. So
After a while, that probably wears on you a little bit.
I couldn't. For this little time that you're talking to me, you know that I talk a lot.
Yeah, we've talked a lot today.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time together today.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't. I have an opinion on things.
Did that stuff kind of lead up to the depression
Yes,
that caused?
yes. Because I'm a woman that I can talk about medicine, I can talk about politics, I can talk about psychology, I can talk to you about the end of the world, whatever you want to talk about, I will talk to you about. I have a lot of interest. So I have a lot of things inside my head. I read a lot. If I watch TV, I'll watch the news. I consider myself a nerd. I never drank. I never had drugs. I don't have tattoos. I never went out with girlfriends. I'm from work to home.
You're very intelligent. Very smart.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot in the plane. Yes.
Very smart.
Oh, thank you very much. But he didn't appreciate that.
I do.
Well, that was a problem. That was my defect. That was, the
And that
problem.
probably led to the depression.
Yes, yes. The abuse. It's in the tapes on the computer. You'll see how he called me a bitch. Very bad words. Let me see if I remember. Son of a bitch. Words that I don't speak. These words are not part of my vocabulary. I'm conservative. I'm a religious person. So I'm not modern. I don't like to go out partying. I like to take care of my home, and I like to work. I always work at least 14 hours a day, and I always work 7 days a week. That wasn't a problem. I worked in the CPA firm,
Right.
7 days a week.
And I know that when we were talking earlier that when you lost that job, that was the thing that was the most devastating.
So we had 2 years good. I got pregnant a second time about a year later.
So August 2006.
About 2006, I got pregnant again. And again, he did the same thing to me, the same torture. And that was a very bad time for me because it started bothering him, because I was wrecking his body, my body, his body belonged to him. I started to gain weight, and that wasn't good.
Gaining weight as a result of the pregnancy?
Depression of losing a baby for the second time. I became depressed.
So you lose the second baby because the same things were going on as happened the first time, a year
Exactly.
prior.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then the
He
depression.
thought I was purposely trying to get pregnant. I wasn't. I didn't even think I could get pregnant anymore because right? I didn't think I could get pregnant. If he was so concerned about me not getting pregnant, why wouldn't he use a preservative, right? Right? So he wasn't too. I was married, and I didn't see a problem with that. So I did, because I didn't get pregnant. It was weird. I didn't get pregnant before him. But then I thought that was a thing that happened once, that wouldn't happen again, because it didn't happen.
Now, like you told us earlier, there's medical records for the first time. Did you go to the doctor the second time as well?
No.
Okay, so in 2006 there won't be medical records. In 2005 there should be.
There should be. Yeah.
Right. And after that, things start spiraling out of control, right?
Yeah, but we kind of were he was in love. All of a sudden, he was writing little letters, calling me all the time. Things got better after. I think we got used to each other. The first year.
It's hard, yeah, because you didn't date long. So
Yeah.
it took a while to get used to each other and get comfortable.
Exactly. And his son left, which is the two of us.
Right.
We sort of dating, right? Then I got pregnant again, and he got very, very angry, and he
Are we
thought I was
talking about
setting.
the third time now? Or
No, the second
the
time.
second time.
And then, he thought I was setting him up.
I thought you were doing it on purpose.
Yes.
And is that kind of what he thought the third time? The third time?
No, I thought, oh yeah, he became very psychologically disturbed. He was drinking a lot. He was not doing well in Southwest.
Now, what time frame we talking? After August 2006?
No, we are back in December of 2006. We now 3 months before.
I was saying, just to make sure I understand, because I want to make sure that what I remember is right.
Because these are things that I'm saying now that I didn't
The
tell.
day that everything happened at the house.
I'm
is
getting
that
to
the
that.
first time you told him you were pregnant for the third time? Is that?
Yes,
when you
that was
told
the
him?
first time.
Okay, so that's, okay, I just wanted to make sure I remembered that correctly.
That was the first time. Because I was
So
afraid.
So that would have been March.
I was afraid. I was depressed because I was afraid that his reaction would be the same reaction that he had the first time.
Which it was.
Which it was.
Yes.
It was even worse because he said he was going to adopt his daughter's
Yeah,
baby.
you know what? Can you tell Mike, so kind of cover that again? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth. I can't
Okay.
sit here and tell you what you said. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
I mean,
Well,
what you said.
yeah, you wanted me to jump into that part.
No, I mean, I just wanted to make sure we were.
Yeah.
I wasn't putting words in your mouth.
Okay. Well, yeah, that day was a Monday. So, what happened? No, okay, I'll go into that day. That day was a Monday, and he got home about 9 or 10 in the
Now,
morning.
which day are you talking?
I didn't want to tell him over the phone because he worked. He stayed home one day and 3 days out of the house with South. 1 day and a half and 2 days and a half he would fly. So I found out I was pregnant, and I got very nervous. So I became depressed. I already knew he was not going to accept the pregnancy. So I had a plan. If he doesn't want to accept this pregnancy, I'm going to kill myself. Because I'm already fat, I lost my job, I'm 42 years old, and I'm not going to have an abortion. There's nothing that's going to make me have an abortion. And he doesn't want a child. What am I going to do? I'm going to kill myself. So I had a plan to, I'm not going to tell you my plan yet. Let me just get into this pregnancy part. So he got home, and I already had this plan to commit suicide. He doesn't want the pregnancy. I'm going to kill myself. And then we talked. He got home, and I said, I had a pregnancy test, I think, inside my pocket. I had a pregnancy test inside my pocket, and I pulled out the pregnancy test and I showed it to him. He said, "What is this?" I said, "I'm pregnant." He said, you know, I don't care if you're pregnant. You're not gonna have this baby. And I said, "Why?" "You know that my daughter is pregnant, and she's 8 months pregnant, and I'm gonna adopt her baby." He was telling me that. He never told me that before. He's just telling me that for the first. He was gonna adopt his daughter's baby for her to go to college. She was 18, and I said, "Fine. If you don't want this baby, I'm gonna have this baby. I'm gonna go back to New York. I'm gonna have this baby." support my grandchild. And I said, okay, I'll support the child. That's not a problem. He said, you don't understand. I don't want a baby. Because sooner or later, you're going to ask me for money. You're going to ask me for child support. I don't want a baby. You can go back to New York if you want, but I don't want this baby. And then we got into, he grabbed me. He threw me on bed and he grabbed my throat. I just defended myself. He was very angry. And I said to him, forget it. I'm not going to have an abortion. And I said, he said, well, let me take a shower. Leave the room. Let me take a shower. He had just arrived home. And we'll talk more in a little bit. So I left the room. He locked himself inside the bedroom and had a shower in the bedroom. And I didn't know what to do because before that I had tried to commit suicide with sleeping pills, but he took away all my sleeping pills. I didn't have anything that would calm me down. But we had a bottle of caipirinha, which is cachaça, yeah. Because once we traveled to Brazil and we bought a bottle, I never drank before, but I thought of that. I said, maybe I should drink to calm myself down. I'll drink something while I have to. I was anxious while I have to wait for him to finish up the shower. So I started drinking, and I had a gun. I had bought a gun. But now I'm all over the place.
No, you're on the right track.
You're on the right track because you told, if I'm recalling this correctly, you had bought the name because you were going to try to commit suicide.
Yeah, but I didn't tell him that part yet.
Yeah, you did do it. So you buy the gun. Where do you buy the gun at?
No, let me say, on Thursday, he got, okay, here's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday was the day that he died, right? So, I think on Wednesday, I knew I was pregnant. I took the pregnancy. That day, that week, I knew I was pregnant. Took the pregnancy test. Maybe it was a few days before that. So I knew I was pregnant, but I didn't tell him. He was on his trips. Got home on Monday. So he 1, 2, 3. I don't know if he was home that day, but I knew I was pregnant. So
on Wednesday of that week, you find out you're pregnant.
It's either between Monday and Thursday,
Sometime that week.
Yeah, I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
But I didn't tell him because I was afraid. So I thought, if that man doesn't want me to have this child, I'm going to kill myself because I'm not going to have an abortion. So what did I do? There was a file on the internet called suicide.
And you told me you found us on how ways to commit
Yeah,
suicide.
between the years of between 2004 or 5, it was all over the news that people could get on the internet a file that would tell all kinds of step by step how you could commit suicide.
So you were searching the internet for possible ways to kill yourself.
Yeah, and that file is even saved on the hardware,
Okay.
on the hard drive.
The hard drive. Okay.
Okay, and the best way of committing suicide was with the gun. But the downside of killing yourself with a gun is that it has a recoil. That most people that try to kill themselves, they lose part of their face, but they don't die because you aim here and the gun will do like that or like that, and you wind up not dying. But that's the most most successful way of killing yourself. And then there's
You
jumping
found a way
off
around
building. Right.
What was
So I-
that? Tell me about that.
Yeah, then I thought that was, because there were other ways, poison, jumping off of a bridge, of a building, what do you call it, the heat, you leave on the gas, the stove on, many ways. So I thought gun was a good way because, they had guns. They sold guns in Ohio. That would be easy, right? And not so painful. So what I did, but I had a problem. The recoil thing bothered me because if I just get my face ripped off and I don't die, I'm in worse ways, right? So what I do, I went to the gun store.
The gun store, right?
Gun store, and I asked for a gun that was small enough for my hands, and I wanted it with the laser beam because I wanted to shoot to see what that recoil was. So they assembled it for me.
Do you remember the name of the gun shop or where it was?
It was not too far away from Newton Falls.
I said Slug Masters. Would that sound about right?
Slugs. Yes. So they helped me to find the right gun for my hand. I had small hands, and I said, what does explain to me about this laser beam? Or I said, I don't want to buy a laser beam. Just sell me the whole package. So I bought the whole package, and I went to
Why do you want the laser beam?
Oh, I'm going to explain that to you. I went to firing range, right? Because I want to shoot to understand if I aimed at that point, how much more above that point it would hit.
So you did a little research on this. I mean, obviously, because
lot.
you understood that there could be a point where the laser's hitting and
Yes.
the bullet's not hitting that exact spot. You researched this on the internet?
No, the beam came from my head. That was
Yeah, but
obvious.
You knew that there was a chance that that bullet wouldn't hit exactly
Yeah,
where the
because
beam
the
was.
article said about the recoil.
Right, the article you were reading.
The article
Gotcha,
said about
okay.
the recoil. So I was concerned about the recoil, so I had to understand about the recoil. I said, if I go to a shooting range, when I aim in that point, and if it shoots like one inch above or 2 inches, I will know how much I have to adjust it to lower it to hit where I want. So I did I don't know how much ammunition I bought, but I was there for just 1 hour. And I became very good at it. It's not difficult.
Not that hard. Okay.
It's not that hard. So I was hitting the target, and I said, well, that's fine. Facing the gun that way, it's easy. What about facing the gun sideways? That's totally different. That's not going to work.
How are you going to see where the laser's hitting?
You see a little,
You do this, how you see where the laser's hitting?
no, you didn't get it.
Yeah, because that's where I was.
Get it.
That's where I was fascinated when you told me about the thing.
The laser beam is not for killing myself. The laser beam was to understand the recoil. What is recoil?
She wanted to see if she pointed the gun.
If I pointed here, it will hit here. I would understand how much I would have. If I want to hit here, actually I have to aim here. So the laser beam was for me to understand what is recoil, what's the distance.
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
Not accurate, but I get what you're saying.
Makes sense. We understand.
You can't, here's what I'll tell you. Because I can tell you this now, you can't control recoil. Okay?
But I only
Once-
figured that out later after I did it.
Yeah, she actually told me that she figured out that if she couldn't figure it out.
We wouldn't.
I actually teach that stuff. That's why I was going to teach you real quick.
Right, so I said, that's not good. I just figured, I paid to learn that won't work.
Right.
That won't work. That will be no good. So what I do,
But you found out you were a good shot in the process.
yeah. Yeah. I'm an athlete, so I'm good with the sewing. I'm very good with my hands, so I'm good firm hands. So that wasn't hard at all. Shooting's not hard, at least not from at a range. So what I do is that, yeah, that's very easy to shoot straight, but not sideways. Not gonna work. I don't know what's gonna happen with my hand. I cannot practice shooting that way. I can't. Yeah. So I went home, and my husband had tools to work with wood. He was an artist, so I went there and I made a piece of wood with a hole in the middle. And I figured that I would screw that to a door frame. I went inside a closet. I did that in his daughter's room. I went inside a closet and I screwed that in there. I cut a piece of wood that would be the size of the opening, right? And I screwed that here.
You did that all yourself?
Yep. And I got a seat. I sat in the seat and I measured that hole to be right here. Right here. So I measured it and I screwed that in the door frame. So I put a gun there. All I would have to do is pull the trigger. Go right in here.
Don't have to worry about the recoil.
No record.
Did you find that on the internet, or you
No, I'm
came up
smart.
with it yourself?
No, come on.
He did that
It's
on
not
himself.
stupid. Yeah, I'm not stupid.
Well, Chris, here's what I'm going to tell you.
Mhm.
I'm going to sleep better tonight because for the last 11 years, I've been wanting to know exactly what that piece of wood was all about. Yes.
No.
I honestly, I have, that has baffled me for years.
No, come on.
Not something we see every day.
But there's a chair right there.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back. We'll talk about this again. We'll talk about
We'll
it.
go back to that because
But now I can sleep.
Okay. So my plan was never, not for one single minute, to kill anybody. I swear to God, there was not for a single minute I thought about that. But that man was stupid enough. When he saw me, when he came out of that bedroom, that he saw me. I was drunk. I waited for him for almost 1 hour. I was drinking.
While he's in the shower, you're drinking.
I'm drinking.
He gets out of the shower, comes out of the bedroom, what happens?
Then with my coat on, a little bag in here, and a gun inside. Walk all over the place, drinking and waiting, nervous for him to come out of the room. And so I figured I had to do something very shocking for him to shake him up about this pregnancy. So I thought, oh, I know. I'll wait for him. When he opens the door, I'll be right here with a gun to my head. So that's what I did. So when he opened the door and see me with the gun, he saw me with the gun to my head, he would have no reaction. He would keep staring at me, and all of a sudden he doesn't move, and he grabs the gun and grabs my hand and keeps holding me, and then he just throws me against the wall. And I fell down because there was a door here. There was the door to the, oh, you know the house. There was the door to the bedroom. There was the door to a middle bedroom, right?
I'm trying to remember, but yes, I think I remember what you're saying.
And there's a third bedroom where his daughter's bedroom. That's where I have the thing. And here's the third bedroom, which is where I have the.
And the steps are over here going down.
Yeah, the steps are right here.
Right. Okay.
Right? So when he comes out of the room, I'm right there.
Come back over here so I can see it. My bright eyes, man.
Yeah. So and he stares at me. I thought he would have some emotion to his face. Had no emotion to his face at all. Nothing. Just looked at me, and then he grabbed the gun in my arm at the same. No, and same time. But then he just threw me, and I fell. I hit my head against the door frame of that bedroom, middle bedroom, and I just stayed there. And we start talking, and he said, no, he started talking. He wasn't talking anymore. He said, that's a very good idea, but just do me a favor. Let me leave the room and go to the basement to do that, because you're going to splash my paintings. You're going to splash blood all over my paintings, because down that step there were 3 paintings, and he's a collector of painting. He was, and I got very angry. If he had said that, I would be dead, he would be alive.
What happens next?
Well, what happened next is that I got very angry, and I got up real fast and I shot.
Shot what?
I shot at him, and I was lying down. He was going.
Come back over here, please. Please,
Yeah, I was
please.
I was lying down, right? I got up real fast, and I shot at him. He wasn't too far away. It was close.
Was he down the steps? Where was he?
He was going down the steps. Maybe he was on the 3rd step, and it was here, right? Or, let me.
You're right at the top of the steps, top corner.
Yeah, the steps are here, right? Here's the door to the master bedroom. Here's the door to his son's bedroom. Here's the door to his daughter's bedroom.
Is there a bathroom over here somewhere, maybe?
Here's a bathroom here, yes. He saw me here, then he threw me here. I hit my head here. I was here.
So when he threw you down, you didn't lose control of the gun or anything, or he didn't take it from you?
No, he didn't take it from me. So when he saw, when he said, paintings here, I got very angry. I got very angry. And if he had not said that, he would have lived, and I would have died. I would have killed myself.
So him telling you to go down there changed the whole...
Changing the whole thing.
Makes
It
you
was a
mad.
very sensitive.
You're still mad, I can tell.
Yeah.
It's very emotional, and
Yeah.
this is exactly what you told us when we were on the airplane. You're telling us now exactly the same thing that you told us before.
I said, look, I didn't say a word. I just thought it was too quick. I'm going to die. We're going to die, but you're going to die with us. The 3 of us, we're going to die here now.
You, him, and the kid?
Yeah.
You, him, and the baby?
Yes. But those were not words that I said. It was too quick.
Just what you were thinking.
Yeah, I thought and I acted, real quick.
Did you stand up?
I got up real fast. I was maybe like just like this.
Mm-hmm.
They just got up real fast. And
What'd you do next?
I just turned around and I shot. But my feeling was, my impression
Right.
impression is that the gun had 5 shots because I had a little drink. My feeling is that I had shot him 3 times and I saved 2 bullets for myself. So after I shot him, I ran inside this 3rd bedroom and I sat in the little chair. I sat in the little chair. As hard as it was, I pulled the trigger. It was the hardest thing I ever done in my life. It was hard. I pulled the trigger. Nothing happened. I said, my bullets. What happened? I pulled the trigger the 2nd time. I don't know where I got the strength to do it. It was hard. It was very hard. Nothing times, and I said 2 bullets for myself. And what happened? I got confused. So I said, let me put new bullets in. Maybe bad bullets. I don't know. So I ran downstairs to the basement, and I don't remember was when I was going down or going up, back up. I realized what I had done, and I tried to see if it was alive, breathing. I put I took his boat before, and I tried to see if it was breathing or vice versa. He wasn't. Said, "I gotta finish up what I started." So I think it was on my way down. Yes, it was on my way down. And I said, "No, it's done. I gotta finish up what I started." I went to the basement, put in 5 new bullets in the gun. I went back to the room, his daughter's room. I put that gun in that piece of wood. I sat there again. But it was hard because I started thinking about my family. And I said, let me say goodbye to my family. Let me tell my family what I did and what I'm going to do with myself. I don't want them to find that out through the newspapers. I want myself to tell them. So from the landline, I called my sister. From the cell phone, I called my father. And somehow they start talking among themselves, and they called some lawyer, and they said that Ohio had death penalty, and they advised my father and my sister to convince me to leave the U.S. But they hadn't told me that. In the meantime, while my father and my sister are talking, they put my sister's husband on the phone talking to me, and he's a pastor, and he started talking to me about hell, going to hell. Don't do that, don't kill yourself, because you're going to hell, da da da. He didn't say anything about death penalty. They only talked about going to hell. And he said, no, I don't want to hear that about hell. I gotta kill myself. I want to die. They said, no, don't do that. And then my father took the phone, and he said, do you know where your passport is? I said, yes, I do. Where is it? I said, it's the bank. It's in a safe at the bank. And do you have money? I said, I have a credit card, and I have $1,300 in my bank account. He said, go there, get money, and get your passport, and you're gonna come to Brazil. I said, I can't drive, I'm drunk. And they have coffee in the house. I said, I do. Make strong coffee and drink coffee that you're gonna come back. I said, I can't. So he convinced me to do that. I went to the bank, went to my safe deposit, and that is only under my name. My husband didn't have access to that. It's only under my name. So I
Where was that bank at, Chris?
Beautiful.
Remember the name of the bank?
Up here.
Maybe Huntington? Would have been Huntington at the time.
I don't remember what they were.
I'm trying to remember.
I think HSBC.
HSBC?
There's only one bank in New
Yeah, I know it.
Okay.
Yeah, it just may have changed names over the years, that's all.
There's only one bank in there. So I went in there. I went to my safe deposit box, which I had when I got married to him. I had $40,000 in cash. Why I had that? Because I claimed bankruptcy, and I couldn't keep my money in the bank. So, but I spent $30,000 because it didn't work for a while, and I was buying food for the house, I was buying clothes, we were traveling, I paid for all our meals, going out to dinner. So I spent $30,000 easily. Over 2 years, I spent $30,000. So, but I still have $10,000. So, no. I didn't have, that day, I didn't have the $10,000 anymore, because on Thursday, when I decided to kill myself, when I was prepared to kill myself, I said, I have $10,000. If I'm going to kill myself, I'm not going to leave this $10,000 to him. I'm going to give it to my father. So on Thursday, I transferred $10,000 to my father. If I was
Did you
planning...
call him to tell him you were going to do that, or did he know that money came?
I did that once in a while because I support family members. Once in a while, I don't remember if I told him. I probably did. But he was...
Did you tell him why, or that was just normal?
No.
Was that a bigger transfer than...
But I wasn't sure if I was going to kill myself. It was just in case I killed myself, because I hadn't talked to him. I was hoping that on Monday we would straighten things out.
Well, would Dad have wired that money back to you if you wanted it?
No.
So you were out 10 grand one way or the other?
No. That money was for my sister. You know, that money was money that I gave often to my sister. So
you were giving
it
your last money you were giving away to your sister.
well, but you know, it would go to good use, because instead of me wiring money every couple months, every 3 months, every 6 months, that money would last a year, you know, to support my sister. So I wired that money to him just in case things didn't work out on Monday, because it was the day he was coming back home, and I was going to tell him about the pregnancy. So that day I wired the money. If I was planning on going back to Brazil, first of all, I would have bought an airplane ticket, which I didn't. I bought the airplane ticket in New York on Monday afternoon. Was confused when I got to the bank to get the things out of the safe deposit box. That I thought, my God, I have $1,300 in the bank account. If I clean it up, they will know that I killed my husband. I was paranoid. So I only got 1,000 and left 300 in the bank account that is still there to this date. And I was confused. I was paranoid. So I went to the clerk, and I got $1,000 out in cash, and I got the things out of my safe deposit box, which was my passport and my diplomas from school and birth certificate and marriage certificate documents. And the money was not there anymore because I had transferred it on Thursday. But on this Monday, after I killed him, I went to the bank and I got my stuff. If I was planning on doing this, I would have gotten things out of the safe deposit box before I killed him, not after.
I understand.
Right?
I know where you're going with this.
Right. So, my father he encouraged me, go there, get your stuff in, and you're gonna fly to Brazil. But I don't know. It's a long trip from New York to Pittsburgh, which was the airport. And I'm gonna help you out, and I'm gonna try to buy you the ticket with my credit card. But if things don't work out, at least you have $1,000 and you have your credit card, you're going to be able to get a ticket. So I was able to get a ticket with, I think, with $900, something less than $1,000. He wasn't able to use his credit card.
You left the bank, and if it's the same, if what you told me earlier, when you left the bank, you drove to...
Oh, yeah, I left...
Very slow and very careful.
I was like a zombie. My father was talking to me to try to encourage me, because I didn't even know why I was driving. My life is over. What's the purpose of me doing this? But one thing kept going through my head. I want to say goodbye to my family. I want to see my family. Because that idea of committing suicide hadn't left my head yet. I thought, if I get to Brazil and I say goodbye to my family, I still can kill myself. And I tried to kill myself there that day that I got to
And how did you try to do that?
I went to a very expensive hotel in Copacabana Beach. I went to the highest, I think it was 19th floor, to the highest apartment that I could get, and I had a credit card. And I said, give me the most, and that was all the limit I still had left in my credit card. So I went down and I said goodbye to my father. He picked me up at the airport. I talked to him. I told him, listen, I did this horrible thing, and I don't want to be in your house because I don't want to involve you in something like that. Because we thought that if the police found me in his house, he would be arrested. That's not true, but at the time we didn't know how things work. So I said, I'm not going to get you involved in this. I just want to say goodbye. We cried and said goodbye. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to tell you. Where you go? I'm not going to tell you. But from the way I spoke to him, he knew I was planning on doing. And I said, don't try to stop me. I had to do this. So we cried and we said goodbye, and I went into this very expensive room, a hotel room. And what I was gonna do is that I was gonna sleep a little bit and wait until night, because I didn't want to make a very bad scene. And I figured that at night I wouldn't have the risk of falling on top of someone and killing an innocent person. So I waited, and once I got to the room, I called my father. Said, Dad, I'm fine. I'm in a hotel room in Copacabana. I said, I love you, something like that. Fine. Then I went to sleep because it was still afternoon. Half an hour later, the phone rings in the room, and it's my father. I said, I'm not gonna get into trouble by having you in my house. You can come with me. And I said, Dad, no, yeah, and we're gonna take care of you. I said, really? And my father was not very loving. Was never very loving. He said, you're my daughter. When he said that, my father never said that to me, those words. You're my daughter and I love you.
You went with that.
That was from good. I waited for 2 years to hear those words. I'm your father.
Chris, how about we give you a little break for a few minutes? We're going to take a little break.
Yeah.
And we'll come back.
You get some tissues, okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna go and grab you something for your eyes, or I'll be right back.
I'm going to stop the tape for a second. Time's 11:13. Right, so we're just going to take a little break. Can I get you something else? Is there anything else you want, or?
Let me get you some tissues.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, good.
Be back.
Yeah, tissues. We used to have them in here, but they're all gone. Everybody used them.
People crying too much in here.
Chris, I know how hard that was. I know how hard that was. I'll be back in a few minutes, okay?
You all right, Chris?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right, we're back. I got my coffee. I started the tape back up. The time's 11:21. We took a short break. You're still ready to talk to us. You're still okay with
Yeah.
talking to us. All right. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you. You laid out quite a story for us.
Yeah, there's still a big part, important part of it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Attempt of suicide before, a month before he died.
You did?
Yeah, he committed to mental hospital. He put me there.
How did you try to do that time?
Well, thing is, he was depressed. I told you he was depressed. He was drinking a lot. He was having problems with his job at Southwest. He was not flying well, and he was getting bad reviews, and he was at risk of losing his job. So he was already depressed over several things. He hadn't gotten over his divorce from his first wife. It was piling up on him because he wanted to become a politician, and his dreams were ruined. Then the not having custody of his children, he was very frustrated because they were fat and they wanted to be skinny, and they were not, because he wanted his son to be a sports boy, and he was a computer type of person who wanted to play games, and he didn't work out. He was fat, and his daughter was also fat. There was a problem with him. He wanted the perfect wife, the perfect house, the perfect kids. He was obsessed with that. Things were getting out of hand. Left his first marriage didn't work out. His second marriage with Carla del Castillo, the Peruvian woman, didn't work out, and he was obsessed with her because he talked about her all the time with me. It was crazy. And I looked like her. That's why he married me and made me even dye my hair black, because he wanted me to look like her. And then his son left, didn't want to be living with him anymore. And then there was the pregnancy thing, and he was not doing well at Southwest. All those things started piling up in his head. He became depressed. Oh, and there was the thing that he thought he had prostate cancer, and he tried to get money from the military, the Air Force, and they denied his retirement and denied the settlement. So you can also check those records.
Something we didn't touch on, I think probably just because you got emotional at the time. After you shot him, you were pregnant. What happened with that child?
I lost the baby in
You
Brazil.
lost that baby
I
too?
couldn't eat. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep in Brazil. I was very sick.
Was that while you were in Sao Paulo at your father's? Sao Paulo?
No, my father, I landed in São Paulo. From São Paulo, I went to Rio.
Okay.
I stayed with my father for like, I guess, 4 days.
Okay.
And then from Rio, I went to Brazil, and I didn't leave anymore.
When you lost the baby in Brazil, did you go to a hospital there or a doctor?
No, because I was afraid to give my name and be arrested. I was paranoid for that.
Okay, and we're going to talk about some of that too, because I'm really, really interested in what happened after. All right, I'd like to know how all that worked. Another question. At some point, did you try to buy? Now you told us about the revolver. At some other point, did you try to buy another gun of yours?
Yeah, I tried to buy another gun.
Tell me why, or what it was, or where you tried to buy it. Or tell me everything.
I thought that gun was not. I don't remember exactly the reason why I wanted to buy a second gun. Let me try to think.
That was a big one. That was a 45, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think he convinced me that, I don't remember the
Who
reason.
convinced you?
The guy at the firing
At the range?
store, yes.
When he was trying to tell you that might be a better gun for you or something?
No, I started inquiring.
Because of the internet searches you were doing?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you actually tried to buy it, just that the purchase didn't go through on your credit card, right? You remember?
No, I figured, I think I figured that first gun, It was good. It was a good gun. I didn't need that other gun. It was good.
Okay, so, all right. I thought something happened, your credit card didn't go through or something. All right. Maybe I'm mistaken. Like I said, it's been a long time.
I don't remember.
Okay, that's
To
fine.
be wrong-
It's
to
minor.
be
I
honest
just wanted,
with
I was
you.
trying to figure out why you needed two guns.
No, to be honest with you, I don't remember why I wanted to buy the second gun if I thought that one would be more efficient than the other. Or maybe because I shot with a gun similar to that gun, and I thought it was better. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I tried that gun, and I thought it was a good gun. Was like,
How'd you try it?
I think he let me fire with a similar gun.
So somebody at the range let you shoot once, and you wanted to, you liked it, so you were gonna buy one
The
similar.
fuel, I thought it was.
Did it have anything to do with any kind of, you remember having any conversations with anybody about like knockdown power or anything like that?
What is that knockdown?
You know, like the power of the bullet, like what it would take to actually put somebody down if they were, you know, if you're trying to shoot them? Do you recall any of that?
No, never thought of anything like that. All I remember is that when I went to buy the bullet, I wanted to buy that bullet that exploded.
Hollow point?
I don't know the name of it, but that opened.
So why'd you want that?
Because if I want to kill myself, I wanted it to not to just go, not do any harm, to do big harm.
And you were buying that gun for what reason? Tell me again. Why were you buying the gun in the first place?
The first one,
Mm-hmm.
to kill myself. Yeah, that's why I made that hole in the wood.
All right, now, you were very descriptive in what you laid.
Remember why I want to buy a second gun?
Well, it may have, as you're talking about that, some of that stuff's kind of sparked in my memory to make me think that maybe you did shoot something at the range in somebody, but I thought there was something about maybe, you know, a bigger bullet, more knockdown power. I thought I remember hearing something about that, but I could be mistaken.
No. Oh, the only thing I remember was that I want to buy a bullet that would do more harm or open inside your body to do more damage.
And where'd you learn that about that at?
Carl.
Oh, he told you about the bullets?
Yeah, he taught
Did
me
he
how.
teach you how to shoot? I mean, did he?
Yeah, he shot in the house. He taught me how to shoot with help me out.
Like a long gun, a shotgun?
Yeah, shotgun.
Okay. Did he have handguns in the house?
Lots. Yes.
So why did you go buy, if you had, you know?
Because I tried to commit suicide several times. You didn't let me get into that yet.
No, what I'm saying though is if he had guns in the house, why
Because
didn't
I
you?
tried to kill myself with the gun, and then when he found out, he took away all the guns from the house.
Okay. How'd you fail? How did you not kill yourself?
I got scared. I changed my mind, but I told him that I tried to do that. And after that,
No problem. Now, I want to go back to, you remember very vividly, you kind of drew out the layout of upstairs for us. I mean, you were pointing the gun in the direction that you thought you would have been pointing it back then. How many times, so he comes out of the bathroom, and I just want to replay this, because this is and we'll touch on a lot of different things here, but this is nuts and bolts of it.
yeah.
You're drinking. You're upset because he doesn't want you to have, now he knows you're pregnant for the third time. He doesn't want you to have that baby. He says, I'm taking a shower, we'll talk about it. So you're gonna make an impact. You want him to see that you're serious about this when he comes out of that room.
Yeah.
And you're standing there with that gun to your head. He comes out, kind of stares at you for a few seconds.
Faze him.
Not only does it not faze him, once he tosses you on the ground, he says what?
Go ahead.
Just don't mess up my stuff.
Yeah.
Because my stuff's more important than you. Right?
Yeah, you need to take it like that, but this is a clear.
You bounce up off the ground.
Yeah.
After he shoves you down, what's his action after that? Does he start going down the steps?
No, the first bullet knocked him.
What's
The
that?
first bullet knocked him.
Not him?
Not
Knocked
killed him. The first one.
The first one killed him?
The first one. He fell down. He was going down the stairs. Like this. Like, in his one foot, I remember his one foot did like this. He fell down. But there was not that sound like, no sound. He died instantly.
Let me ask you this, now you had a laser on that gun.
No, but it was so, I didn't need to use it because it was too fast. The laser was not for, I didn't buy a gun to kill anybody.
I'm not saying you did.
So the laser beam was there was no more use for it. It was just in the gun.
Listen to what I'm saying. Do you know where that first shot hit him?
No, I actually, I was just shooting.
That's why I'm asking you, because the laser, obviously if you have a laser pointing somewhere, it's hard to see where a bullet actually hit something, but it's pretty easy to see where that red laser's pointing.
No, it was too fast. It's impossible to.
How close was he to you when you fired that first shot?
From here to there, or less. From here to there.
So I would say at most this is six and a half feet.
Yeah.
Feet maybe?
Yeah.
Most.
So very close.
Very close.
Okay. And then how many times did you shoot?
In my head, I had shot him 3 times, but the articles say I shot 5 times, hit him 3 bullets, and 2 were hit the room.
And we'll get into that.
But in my head, I had shot him 3 times, and I saved up 2 bullets for myself.
Okay, we'll get into that, because that touches on that. We're going to do a little math problem here. I know you're intelligent, so we're going to work on that math here.
I don't know if it's true that there were 5 shots. I read that on the internet.
Okay.
That
I understand.
If I remember what you told me on the plane, if I remember correctly, you said that it happened so fast that you shot, and you remember shooting a couple times, but you didn't remember how many, because when you went to the bedroom, you thought you had 2 more bullets.
No.
When you
In my
tried.
head,
Right.
I counted 3 bullets.
You counted 3.
In my head, I counted 3 bullets.
Right.
So in my head, I knew there were 5, so less 3, there's still 2. So went to the bed. I only needed 1 to kill myself,
Right.
but I had 2. Because in my head, I
All right, we're going to get back
3
to that.
times.
But so he shot 3 times.
In my head, I don't know if I hit him or not.
Okay.
In my
But the
head,
first shot, you know, I mean, you
the
told me-
first shot I know hit him because I saw how he fell.
And you said you know it killed him. He went right down, his foot buckled. You're describing how his
No,
foot
it
buckled.
looked like that one. It looked. I didn't know. It
For sure.
looked like. I didn't know for sure. It looked like the first one was the bullet that killed him. From the way he didn't make a sound. So that's what I think happened.
Now, regardless of the number of shots you actually fired or what you think you read or what have you, where did you fire? Did you fire all the shots from upstairs, or did you go down to where he was at the bottom of the steps
Don't remember.
and shoot more?
Don't remember that part. It happened too fast.
Because one thing I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let out what you probably read on. Do you remember reading anything on the news about the coroner's report?
I read a few things.
Do you remember anything about a contact gunshot wound?
No, I don't
You
know.
understand what a contact gunshot wound is with all the research you've done about suicide and other things?
Contact
Contact.
must be contacts when. Yeah.
In close proximity, very close.
Yeah.
He had one of those.
It's possible that I hit him once. I don't remember. I'm saying that it's possible. I don't remember. I cannot say
Okay.
something to you that I don't remember.
And I wouldn't ask you to.
Right. But it's possible. I remember very clearly the first one. That I remember, the first one. And then I know that I shot him 2 more times. But I don't remember if it was on top or if I went down to shoot him. I don't remember. but it's possible that I did.
Possible that you did?
Yes, it's
So
possible.
it's not out of the realm of possibility?
No, it's not.
Because what could have happened there, I mean, you're mad, right? I mean, basically, he just told you that his paintings are more important than you. So
Yeah,
you're pissed.
yes,
And I think most people would be today, right?
yes.
So, we hit him, he goes down, you go down to the bottom of the steps. Is he still moving? Is he still breathing?
No, he was already not moving because
Okay.
he didn't make that sound of, nothing. So it was too fast. It's like I'm saying, I don't remember if I went down and shot 2 more times or if I shot from the top of the seat. That part I don't remember. But I know I shot 3 times. That's what I remember. I may have shot
Okay.
5, but I only remember 3.
So it's possible. Anyway,
And it's very possible that I shot 5 times because I told you that went back to the
You went to the
room
bedroom.
to shoot at myself, and nothing happened. So I was baffled. I was confused because in my head I had shot 3 times,
not 5.
not 5.
But it would make sense that you shot 5 because
It
when you
makes
pulled the trigger
sense.
twice, nothing happened.
Right. I got very confused. So I don't have that much experience with guns, and I thought, the bullets so bad. Maybe they failed. There was a problem. There was a manufacturing problem with the bullets. So I got to go back to the basement and change the bullets, put new bullets in, to go back and kill myself. But in the meantime, I think it's when I'm going down, I don't remember if it was going down or up the stairs, and I had came, it was when I was going up because it was already cold, and then I came to my sense. I think that time of going down to the basement and having time to put in 5 new bullets, I came to my senses. And when I went up again, and I saw him there, and I realized what I had done, and I took up his pulse and checked his breathing.
What did you do next?
When I saw that he was not breathing at all, I went running back into the bedroom to shoot myself a 3rd time. That was when it was not the reason why I didn't shoot myself the 3rd time was not because it was hard. It was because I thought of my family.
I got you. Makes sense.
Yeah,
I get you.
I wanted to tell them.
Now, he was covered up. Why'd you cover him up?
See, yes, because when I went back. No, I didn't go back to the house. I went straight from the bank to the airport. I didn't go back into the house because I want to have time to fly. So I put a cover over him and a letter. In case somebody came to the window, they would not see his body. So I would have time to take an
To
airplane
get out of the
to
country.
get out of the country.
Can I ask a question though?
Sure.
I want to jump in something about the airport that is something I'm curious about because it confused me. Why didn't you just, I know there isn't like a direct flight from Pittsburgh to Brazil, but why didn't...
There is? No, there isn't.
But I was just curious, why did you fly from Pittsburgh to LaGuardia and then, like, you changed airports? There wasn't a way just to...
It's
there
one
wasn't
next
a-
to each other.
Yeah, there wasn't a way to book a flight and like when I flew down there a couple of days ago when I
Yeah.
went to get you, they didn't let us fly down on that really nice plane.
No,
We had to fly an American, we had to go to Miami and change planes, but we were able to do it right from here.
No, listen, there were no flights at that time from Pittsburgh to JFK.
Okay, so that was the only way to get there, you had to go to LaGuardia and then...
Yeah, they are really 5
They're
minutes away.
close, yeah, I'm familiar, you used to live there.
Yeah, and I got there, I don't know, probably before 2 p.m., around
Okay.
2 p.m. And the flight to Brazil was only at 6 at night, so I had plenty of
Good 4
time.
hours and...
I wasn't in a rush to to get to JFK. I was in a rush to get to New York because the flight to Brazil was from New York.
Okay, so that's probably not uncommon to fly to LaGuardia and then just have to get a cab or a friend
And
or
I
somebody.
didn't have money for the ticket. I had to fly with his flying privileges. As a spouse, I could fly flying privileges. As a spouse, I could fly with, I had flying
Well,
privileges.
that's for both flights?
No,
Just the one to,
just domestic.
just the one to Pittsburgh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you head down there, you check in the hotel, then you go stay with Dad for a couple of days. At what point does this start setting in? This is really interesting. By now you know what happened. You know what you did. It's all coming together.
Yeah.
What's going on down in Brazil?
Well, I tried I wanted to kill myself. I had a fixation. I wanted to kill myself. So when my father told me those words, they moved me a lot. And I want to enjoy that a little bit more. I want to prolong my time with my family as much as I could. So I was saying a long goodbye to them. So I spent those, I don't know, 4 days with my father, 3-4 days. And he said, I talked to your siblings and they think it's better that you don't stay here with me. You go to Brasilia because there are more people there to cheer you up. Here's just me and you're too sad, you don't talk, you don't eat, you don't do anything. So I think there's a better environment for you with a having a woman. He said, don't worry about it, we already got you a ticket. So I went to Brasilia and I had an apartment there and that my sister lived in, and I just stayed with my sister. She had kids and more people, and
Did everybody down there know who you were and what was going on up here? Did they know about what happened?
my whole family, yeah, and they took care of me.
What about the
because-
people of Brazil? I mean, did you just blend in down there and nobody really knew what was going on or who you were?
No, that didn't hit the news in there for I think a year or two. Yeah, so so they just cheered me up. They tried to cheer me up because nothing with the. And then I tried the same thing that I did in the hotel in Rio. I did in Brasilia 4 times. I went to another hotel. I went to the 13th floor and I tried the same thing, but for some reason things would not work out.
What were you going to do? You were going to try to jump?
Jump, yeah. So I spent all the money that I had going to those hotels to try to kill myself. So I figured out that it would be very hard to kill myself that way. I just didn't have the courage to do that. I would find excuses. I would wait too long, and things just didn't work out. And I wasn't running out of money. So I don't have any more money to keep going to hotels. And I had a little piece of land that I had from many years before, from 20 years before I went back to Brazil. But there was no construction there. So that $10,000 that I gave to my father gave me all back to me, and I was living off of that money. But I was spending it all, and I was spending it like water because I thought I don't need money. I'm gonna kill myself. Why do I need money? I'm going to expensive hotels to try to kill myself, and then I bought. I was running out of money, but I think I still had I had 1,000 left. I spent all the money real quick, and I bought some wood and some bricks and to build a little shack. And I bought a little Liddell suicidal, because I thought another way to commit suicide was to the exhaust of the car. So I figured I would get the car in that room, and I would get it running, and I would take some sleeping pills, and I would die from the
Carbon monoxide.
yes, carbon monoxide. But then I had a problem because when the beetle was inside that little shack, he made so much noise.
You couldn't fall asleep.
No, the neighbors. The neighbors would. Bad luck. The neighbors would hear that noise and go there and try to find out what was going on. So I figured that I would have to wait until some festivity day, carnival, someday that would have a lot of music going on for me to do that. So as I kept postponing and postponing, I was getting better, stronger psychologically, and I met my husband there, and
You got married again down there?
I did.
Yeah, that's
Did
what
you
we
really?
wanted you to
I
here in a
did.
minute when you're ready.
I've been married for 11 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So from the time you got down there, you basically got married right away?
Yeah, to a guy that worked in the construction store that helped me build the shack. He was what do you call it? Non-educated man, a very
You kind of said he was like a farmer.
farmer.
Let me ask you a question. When did you get married? Do you remember what your wedding day was?
Well, there is
Is there like a-
two types of wedding: the official and the non-official.
Okay.
I mean, we got into a relationship
Right.
in 2007, like around June. I got
Okay.
there.
So
in
3 months
March.
after being down there?
No, we started talking. 6 months later, we firmed up. We
Did
were
you-
like flirting.
Did you know him before you went to Brazil this time? Is this somebody you knew from your past in Brazil?
No,
Or is this
no.
you met him when you got
The
there?
construction was the first time I saw
Did
him.
he know what happened up here?
No, I told him a story.
That would
why-
probably be a deal breaker, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So I was afraid of telling the story, so I told him that I was from Rio de Janeiro, that was there hiding from my husband, that was a police officer, that I didn't want to be married to him anymore, and he swore me to death. And I had to hide. Nobody could know where I was. That's why I was hiding in the middle of nowhere, building a shack in the middle of nowhere, so my husband that wanted to kill me wouldn't find me. But after he built that little shack, I had some articles, newspaper articles, and some pictures of Karl in a box in that shack. And because he took care of that shack, he saw those papers, and he figured out that my story was not exactly the way I said. He confronted me, and I said, look, it's better that you don't ask too many questions. You know enough. Because maybe that's not entirely the truth, but if I tell you the truth, you're probably not going to want to talk to me anymore and start crying. He said, try me out. I think you're going to be surprised. Something like that. And then I figured that I knew that my story wasn't true, and I took a chance. So I told him the whole thing. I said, look, if you want to leave and never talk to me again, go right ahead. I will understand. He said, no, I like you more now that you told me the truth than before.
And you're still with him now. That's who you wanted. Sean to call to get your property and stuff
Yeah,
today, right? That's
yeah.
who we called to get your stuff.
Let's get over here.
Yeah, that's good.
talk, and what we'll do is we'll take one more little break before we're done, just to make sure there's nothing. We've sat here with you for quite some time. This is probably the longest interview I've ever done.
Yeah, but you're missing a very
Well,
important part.
we're not, listen, we'll listen to you all night.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. But I like to ask two things. First of all, if you could, remember we talked about earlier, if the Hoerig family was going to be able to hear this or see this?
Yeah, there was a lot that I haven't said about Karl. I think it said enough. I think I said enough, because if I say more about his character, I'm afraid that it's going to hurt them too much.
We'll give you the chance to say whatever you want, just like we said from the start. This is your story, okay? You're the artist here. You paint the babies.
It's not because it was only a fetus that has no value. And what hurts me more, if that's the talking about here, is because I was getting into the part that he was depressed, and I want to get him treatment in Brazil, because a pilot with mental problems, you forced into retirement. You can't be a pilot. You know that. You know about the story of the pilot, German pilot, that when they are playing with 200 people against the mountains, because he had depression, untreated depression. So he knew that he had any situation of going to a psychiatrist, he would have to stop playing. So my plan was I was being his therapist. I was talking to him, getting him to cheer up, and at the same time trying to get him medicine in Brazil, sneak up medicine. Go to Brazil. Not sneak up medicine, because you're allowed to bring in medicine. But so he would take medicine without, off the records, without anybody knowing that he was taking psychiatric medication.
Did you take these medicines?
No, I wasn't able to get the medicine from Brazil. I only talked to my father about that. I spoke to my father about getting the medication, but I didn't fly to Brazil to get the medication. I was deciding that with Karl. So at one point, I had to tell his parents what was going on, that he was very depressed. So I talked to his parents, and we were figuring out a plan to help Karl. But at one point, Steve, he didn't like that. He figured that I shouldn't be involving his parents in my marital problems. So things were, I was getting the support I needed, because I was alone helping a sick man. It was too much for me. That was getting me mentally sick.
And where does this fall in the time frame of things?
That was the last 4 months. The last 4 months. So I was talking to his parents. They were being very supportive, and they were very concerned about him. So then Steve got into the picture, and he said, "Don't you ever talk to my parents about your marital problems. Do not ever involve my parents in your marital problems." So that was when I was alone with a big problem in my hands. I saw a light at the end of the tunnel with the parents. But once I said, "Don't solve your own problems," then I was alone again. Then I became very ill, because his parents were encouraging me to not take the abuse. Yes, you can wear sneakers. Yes, you can wear closed shoes.
So his parents even started siding with you at some point?
Yes. You can. That's your own fault, because you take the abuse. because he doesn't let you wear jackets in the house. You can't put up with that. So they start encouraging me to stand up for myself. But once they got out of the picture, I didn't feel strong enough to stand up for Karl, you know. So I said, now I'm in trouble again. He's starting to dominate me, and I was hurting again, and I became very depressed. And that's when I tried to kill myself with his gun. And then I didn't pull the trigger, but I told him about the gun. He got all the guns out of the house. So then I tried to kill myself with sleeping pills. Took sleeping pills, and I took the car, and I fell into a pit. I fell with the car into a pit, and then they took me to a hospital. I was unconscious. They saved me, and they're gonna release me like the next day. I think they're gonna release me, and they called in the nurse, and they said, "Mr. Hoerig, do you think your wife is ready to go to the house?" And then he hesitated a little, and I had told him about. Oh, that's the day when I told him about the gun. He didn't know about the gun yet. I told him before the sleeping pills, I had tried to kill myself with your gun. Then he said, "Oh my God," he got really nervous. Then he told the nurse, "I think she should stay at the hospital a couple more days to see if she's really good." And the nurse wanted to know why. And he told the nurse about the gun, and then they committed me to a mental hospital. And I stayed there a few weeks. And I said, if you do that, if you don't tell that nurse, I can go home. You know that all I have is my job. It was tax season. All I had is my job. It was like January. I'm gonna lose my job. I was in the middle of doing an audit for the Salvation Army, and I said, I'm almost done with the audit. Nobody can pick up from my left off, and I'm gonna hurt that company, that firm, and I'm gonna hurt myself professionally. You know that I love to work. All I do is work. I work 7 days a week, and I work 14 hours a day. You know that I love to work. Take that away from me, taking everything away from me. Please don't do that. So he felt really sorry. He went to the hospital every day, said how much he was sorry, how much he loved me, but I was really angry at what he had done to me. And the psychiatrist, every day we had to meet with the psychiatrist. And I started telling to the psychiatrist that I wasn't crazy. He was the crazy person. He should be there, not me. And then they thought I was really crazy, because every crazy person says that the other person is crazy, that they are normal. Things got worse to me. Then they would leave me out of the hospital. Then I got smart. I said, this doctor is crazy. He was crazy. I said, I gotta be smarter than him. Then I changed everything around. I said, no, doctor, you're really right. I'm crazy. You're right. I'm crazy. My husband, he's wonderful, has done nothing wrong to me. I'm the bad person. Now I see everything clear. I'm crazy. Yes, I should be here, but I feel so much better. You can let me go home. But that didn't work so fast. Didn't work so fast. There to see what was consistent in saying that I was the crazy one, but I was feeling better, and that worked. So then he released me. I went back to work, but that day I'm sorry. And then I went back home, and I was really, really depressed. He was he was happy to have me home, because he would play his game. He took a few days off work to be with me.
Well, you went to work anyway, right?
Now, he didn't want me
He didn't want
working.
you working, did he?
No, he did. He liked my money. Yeah, but not to live here, but get a job eventually. He never gave me any money.
Let me ask you, one thing I didn't ask you, back to it, after you shoot, and you get your wits about you and you realize what just happened, did you ever think about just calling the police?
Yes, I did, and I was. But my father said, not because of the death penalty.
Your dad was protecting his daughter.
Yeah. I didn't care.
How long after you shot him, all these conversations between your dad, your sister's husband, how long are you in that house?
But then my idea, no, that wasn't, my father knew about the death penalty. And he told me, I didn't know anything about the death penalty.
You know what, earlier when you were talking, you said that, you would talk to your father, you talked to the pastor, you talked to your sister, you said there was an attorney. Did you talk to the attorney, or did one of your family?
No, I don't even know who this attorney was. The only thing I know is that I heard somebody, either my father, my sister, they were talking to an attorney. I could hear in the background.
Somebody else was talking to somebody in the background.
Yeah,
Okay.
calling an attorney. I don't know who this attorney was. I've never seen him.
Let me ask you this, Chris. What do you think? Now, you've had almost 11 years to think about this. Now that you're here and the day has come, what do you think should happen to you? What do you think your punishment should be?
Okay. It doesn't matter to me. My life is over since that day. It doesn't matter. I'm already dead inside. If you say you're free to go, I still don't have a life. If you say you're free to go, where? Go back to Brazil? I don't respect that country anymore. Yes, I probably would go back to Brazil because of my health. But inside, I'm dead. To me, it doesn't matter where I am at. I live for people. I live for animals. I'm an animal protector. I take care of sick animals, dogs, cats, horses, whatever I find that is sick. That's my life mission, to take care of other people. I feel like I'm taking care of my husband because it's a man that has health problems. He cannot work. So I feel like I'm taking care of him, like I'm taking care of the animals. So as long as I feel like I'm helpful to somebody, well, that I have a reason to live. But not for me. I don't care if I'm in prison here, in prison in Brazil, if I'm alive, if I'm dead. I'm dead inside. I've been dead since March 12, 2007. Doesn't matter to me.
That's strong. Very
Doesn't
strong.
matter to me.
Do you feel somewhat better now that you're here and this next chapter is going to start?
I do because it's closure for me.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot on the plane.
And something that'll make you feel better is this is probably the last step of closure for his family. Because I know you said you care about his family and you care about what they think.
Yeah.
So this is very important
I
to them
just
as well.
don't care for Steve because Steve, I don't like Steve because Steve is the reason why this whole I would be married to the state. So I don't like Steve. Steve, he wasn't, he didn't do the right thing for his brother. He did a very bad thing. I don't like Steve. I like Paul. I like his mother, his father. I like Eve, his daughter. I like Brent, his son. I don't like Steve. Steve was bad. Not intentionally. I understand that was not intentional. But he was impulsive. He did very big harm. So Steve, I had resentment towards Steve.
Here's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna take one more little break, okay? And while we're gone, I want you to think about things that maybe you feel, we've sat here and listened to for the next couple minutes. Think about that, and when we come back in, you're gonna have your chance to tell us that stuff, all right? And we're gonna go talk, hey, is there anything else we need to talk to her about? Okay?
Yes, sure.
All right,
Chris, that all make sense?
do you need anything else? Any water, any more tissues, anything like that?
No, I'm good.
The break, the time is 12:09. We'll be right back, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take my pen.
Yeah. But I'm gonna do harm to myself.
Yeah, I don't want you to do that. Don't do that here,
I
okay?
won't do that. Don't worry about
Remember,
it.
you said you wouldn't do that as long as you're helping people, and you've been very helpful to us.
I don't want to go to hell.
All right, we're back on.
That's a piece of wood.
Yeah. We're back on, and it's 12. I brought this thing in, just so you knew, for 11 years. We had our ideas and we had our thoughts.
What did you think?
We'll tell you. Well, we thought a few different things. We thought about the suicide thing, just not in the same manner. Just not in the same manner you did.
Oh,
Maybe leaning over it or something like that.
leaning
Yeah, the way it was. It was just something that came to our mind. And we also thought maybe it was a booby trap. If somebody opened a door, could there have been something tied to the trigger to make, thought of a few different
To
things.
shoot one of us. We thought maybe it was booby traps, so if you opened the door, whoever opened the door would get shot.
over. But
Whether
there
it
were
was
no
Carl or whether it
restraints.
was us.
Well,
or-
right. We couldn't
They
figure out what the
figured
heck
it
was
out.
going
They
on.
just didn't, it was,
But you didn't see the seat.
You gotta remember, I'm getting old now. My memory's not what it used to be. So I can't really say, I don't know.
You don't have pictures?
I'm not sure.
Of them?
Yeah, but I didn't know you were coming.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
You see the bottle of cachaça on the bed?
Well, believe me, we'll be going through this case with a fine-tooth comb now, trust me. One other, I guess probably the simplest question that we didn't ask. Instead of killing him, would it have been easier to just get a divorce?
I tried, he wouldn't let me.
How far did you go? I mean, did you tell him, you told him you wanted a divorce?
Almost every day.
And what was his story? What was his answer?
I love you. I beg you, won't change. I love you. I love you. I can live with you, most beautiful woman in the world. I love you. I swear I'm gonna change. What wife won't accept a man asking for forgiveness?
does that work?
All right, so
You know, and I hadn't tried long enough. Only 2 years.
well, and then,
It's not like I had tried the 10 years. Oh, I already put up with you 10 years. It's not gonna work. I have been only 2 years. So, I had to try a little bit more.
so you made this thing yourself.
Yeah.
What'd you use to make the little hole? You remember?
Had many tools, many tools.
You pretty handy?
Very. I built houses, I paint houses, I do more stuff. Very
So,
handy.
did you just put the end of the gun on there and kind of trace it and then figure out a way to cut it
Yeah,
out?
yeah.
Not a bad job.
No.
Chris,
Well-
is there anything else that you want to say, that you want to get off your chest, that you think we should know, that you want to talk to us about? Anything else, now's the chance.
There's so many things, but
Well, here's what I can tell you. Here's what you can expect from this point forward, okay? At some point, obviously, you're gonna go into our jail tonight, and at some point, maybe as early as tomorrow, you're gonna see a judge.
Really? For what?
For your murder charge.
What they'll do is like, you have a charge, but then they will bring you to court, and it's a lot different than Brazil. They're going to take you to court in front of the judge. The charge will be read to you in court. You'll be told what your rights are, some more rights, the opportunity to get an attorney. So you'll have to go over to court to do that. They'll walk you over to court for that.
Now, if by tomorrow morning, once you get an attorney, like we talked earlier, once you get an attorney, then I can't come talk to you. If tomorrow morning, when you wake up, if you want to talk to me, you just ask one of the officers working in there, and I'll come see you. Okay, if there's something else that maybe we forgot tonight, but really, once you have an attorney, then me and you aren't going to be able to talk to you. Okay?
That's the rules.
Then what'll happen is it'll be your attorney talking to our attorneys. That's how that works. Okay? But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm glad this day came. I never thought in a million years this day would come. All right? But you know what I've learned in the last 3-4 hours? I've learned that this has brought you some closure. It's going to bring his family some closure. And it's going to bring us some closure. So I'm glad that this happened this way in the end. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate you talking to us.
I think we talked about that. It's important for you. It's important for your family. It's important for us. I think, and you wanted to tell your story, and you got the opportunity to do that.
Your story needed to be heard.
There were many things that we didn't know that now we do, and that's very important.
Yeah, for you to understand this man better, you have to know that he was a subscriber to that site, Hogtie. That's what he did to me. And he forced me to watch a show that I hated. It's called Miles High, that is about couple swinging pilots with the crew, men with men, women with women, and that whole dirty thing. And he forced me to watch another TV show called Big Love. Big Love is a man with several wives, and he didn't want me to accept him to have a second wife to live with us. Not a wife, but a maid from Brazil to spice up our sex life. And he gave me an ultimatum. He said, if you don't do that, our marriage is not going to work. So, all those things were very disturbing to me. He wanted me to be a person, to have a sexual behavior that just didn't agree with me.
I understand. And I appreciate you, like you said, being honest and talking to us about that. I'm sure it's hard for you to talk
Yeah,
about.
to have another woman as his wife and accept him to be with men, women, everything. I couldn't do that. That wasn't possible.
I understand.
It wasn't possible.
I understand.
To accept. So what happened? I didn't leave him, but I didn't say yes to him. So that frustrated him and caused a lot of friction between us. So our marriage wasn't smooth because he wanted to turn me into a geisha, into a very passive woman that didn't talk, didn't have an opinion, had many different rules that I couldn't talk, couldn't have an opinion, I couldn't watch, I could only watch the TV shows that he wanted. I couldn't go to sleep. I had to stay up with him until the time he wanted to turn off the TV, even though he knew that I had to work the next day. So, that was killing me, So the days that he was at home, I had to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning. But I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work the next day. So that's when I started getting fat, and things got worse progressively because he wanted to control my thoughts, every thought of mine, every move of mine. The clothes that I wore, I had to wear only what he picked for me, and I had to sleep naked, no socks, no pajamas, no underwear, no nothing, and walk around. That's degrading. To walk around naked in the house with high heels, that's insane. That's degrading. So that's the kind of stuff I went through, and other few things that there are a few things that I don't feel comfortable talking about.
That's fine. We understand that. I think that you've done a very good job of filling in a lot of blanks and making sure that we had,
Yeah, he was a weird man. Sexually, he was weird, and also he was suffering depression, and he wasn't doing well in his job. I tried to help him as much as I could.
We're going to stop things now. It's 12:24 a.m. It's now the 18th of January, Thursday. And again, you made the statement on your own free will, right?
Yes, I did.
We told you that you didn't have to talk to us, and you chose to talk to us.
Yes.
And we went over your constitutional rights under Miranda with you, which you understood, signed, and waived, right? Chris, I really appreciate it.
All right,
Just sit tight.
It's going to help you in some.
It's going to help everybody. It's
Well,
gonna help
here's
everybody.
what I'm going to tell you. I mean, from a police standpoint, I don't like seeing cases that aren't done.
Just bothered by it.
Yeah, I mean, little things like this piece of
You
wood.
talked about that, didn't you? Things that are unfinished bother you. They bother us too.
Yeah.
Finding the
Yeah.
truth,
Now
filling in the
understanding
blanks.
that-
Now we understand.
I told you, this thing wasn't far away. I told you earlier.
Somebody,
I've thought about this piece of wood a lot.
Didn't figure out the suicide.
Well, we had our ideas. That wasn't one of them. Not that way.
I tried to think about that second gun, and I was thinking maybe if the trigger was easier to pull. I don't quite remember the reason I want that second gun.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not that important, but just something that
No, but
something we knew about and we wanted to ask.
something that was off my mind completely, but because you brought that up, I'm asking myself, it's not going to change anything, but I'm forcing myself to try to remember the reason, and I was thinking that had something to do with the trigger being easier to pull, because I did this after I wanted to buy the second gun. After. So I think that when I did that I found that way that I could put a trigger, then I didn't need the second gun anymore. Because this would solve the problem.
Do the trick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. We're going to stop it. The time is 12:26. Just hang on here. We'll be back to get you, okay? Just, you need anything?
No.
Okay, we'll be right back. Chris, come on. Grab your glasses. Wear those. I'm gonna put these on, but I'm gonna put them on in front of you.